MJF is going to carry AEW into 2026 as the best pro wrestling promotion in the world. I'll give you my reasons why I feel that way, as well as cover everything that happened at AEW Worlds End this past Saturday, and some other interesting AEW and WWE news here on Screw the Script. Welcome back, everybody, to Screw the Script. I'm your host, as always, Maverick here. Thanks for joining me. Thank you for being patient and waiting out. I know it's been 5 days, I believe, since I uploaded my last video, maybe even 6. Very busy, like I said, with family stuff that went on for the holidays, but I am back. I'm bringing back the purple, black, and green mask. Mainly because I feel like of all the masks that I've had on this channel, this is the one that feels the most heel-ish in a way. A mask that one would wear if they were a heel. And I feel like it's great to use considering the content of this video. I'm going to be telling you my thoughts on MJF, who won the AEW World Heavyweight Championship at World's End this past Saturday night. I'm going to go into detail with that. Tell you why I feel like he is going to carry AEW into 2026 and continue their hot streak of great pay-per-views, great weekly shows, and show everybody else in the world that AEW is number one. But before I get to that, let's quickly just cover World's End, give quick ratings for each matches, and I'll tell you my cans of whoop-ass rating for the entire show at the end of it. If you're new here and you haven't seen this yet, I do it every month for AEW pay-per-views. Essentially, a 0 out of 6 cans of whoop-ass is a match that I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy to ever sit through. You got a 1 out of 6 is a bad match, 2 out of 6 is below average, 3 out of 6 is average for me, 4 out of 6 cans of whoop-ass is above average, 5 out of 6 would be a great match, and a perfect pack, a 6 out of 6, which is very rare for me to give out, is a perfect match. So, let's go in order. We opened up with Takeshita versus Okada, which was brilliant. I thought this was going to be the second match. They opened up with the more interesting of the two matches, the other one being Moxley and Fletcher, which we'll get to in a couple of minutes here. These two went to war. They went back and forth. It was everything that we wanted, except the end. But it's very interesting to see how the match ended, as Okada did come out on top between the two. He used the screwdriver, which I'll bring up in a couple of minutes in the Kyle Fletcher and Jon Moxley match. And it further pushes the storyline that, Takeshi is going to claim that Okada could only beat him because he cheated. We all know that this is going to go further than what it is. It looks like they relinquish the unified title, so maybe the unified title is just no more. I don't really see it on their website, although I remember them saying in the past that the only way someone could have said title is if they have the Continental and International Championship, which now we saw who won the tournament, which I'll get to later on in this video. Okada dropped the belt, and now he only has the International Championship. Will this continue to feud with Okada and Takeshita? Maybe Takeshita ends up beating Okada for the International Championship. I'd take that as well. This is definitely going to go into a further feud, and I'm excited to see what happens on Dynamite. Then you had the Fletcher and Moxley match. Jon Moxley actually comes out on top, which was surprising. I thought that he was going to lose. I really thought that we were going to get Okada and Fletcher at this point after we saw that Okada beat Takeshita, but instead we got Moxley taking on Okada later on in the evening. As Moxley pulled out the win, he's really becoming a babyface again. It really feels like the Moxley of 2019 that he when he first showed up in AEW. That 2019 Moxley that I really loved. It seems like he's going back to that. The crowd's getting behind him. They were behind him this whole match. He ends up beating Kyle Fletcher when Fletcher at one point looked for that screwdriver hidden under the turnbuckle, and it was not there. And going back to that first match, when Don Callis came out after Okada won, it almost looked like the Sleaze had something up his sleeve. Maybe it was his plan all along to help Okada move on. and screw over Kyle Fletcher. So who knows? Maybe Fletcher and Takeshita are going to be breaking out of the Don Callis family in 2026 and maybe turning face. I don't know. But we saw Moxley move on. Both of these Continental Classic matches, I'm putting them together. They were both great matches, both 5 out of 6 cans of whoop-ass matches. And so was the other one, which I'll get to in a moment because that was later on in the card. I believe after this, we had the tag team match between the Bang Bang Gang and FTR. This was only one of 2 matches on the card that was just an average match for me. This was a 3 out of 6. We saw FTR retain. I really don't have much else to say about the match. It was a solid match, but it was average for a pay-per-view for AEW standards, which is much higher than a different company. It was a fun street fight, fun spots, but nothing super memorable about the match. And we saw FTR retain. And I truly believe that they are building Jet Speed up to potentially be the team that takes the titles from FTR later on in 2026. After that, we had, I believe it was the Darby Allin and Gabe Kidd match. I might have the order off slightly. That's okay. We're still going to get through the matches. We saw Darby Allin go to war with Gabe Kidd. It was a fantastic match. These two, I want to see them run it back. This was one of my favorite matches of the night, personally. I'm giving this a 5 out of 6 cans of whoop-ass. Darby Allin is just so damn good. I actually have a surprise for you guys that I'll show in a moment here, Darby Allin related. But yes, Gabe Kidd also held his own. I love Gabe Kidd as well. I truly hope that AEW eventually can sign him full term to AEW's roster. As of now, he is still signed to New Japan, and he makes appearances here and there as kind of a mercenary for the Death Riders. Before I go on from that, let me show you this awesome Darby Allin thing that I got. So, in the mail I got a few weeks ago, and I never showed you guys on this channel because I've just been so busy with the holidays and shopping for kids. And if any of you have kids, you may understand that. But I was number 49 of 50 for this Darby Allin. Sorry, my ring light's kind of getting in there, but how cool is that? The artwork that is on AEW's website. I forget the artist's name that does it. But yeah, number 49 to 50, as you can see there, if it picks up. I don't know if it'll pick up just due to the glare. But yeah, 49 to 50. Really, really awesome. I'm going to get this hung up eventually behind me. It'll replace the Shawn Michaels that I've had up forever. I love Shawn Michaels, but I feel like considering my channel is a pro AEW channel, I need to have some AEW artwork up behind me. Next, I believe, was the only other 3 out of 6 match that I gave for the night, which was the Mixed Nuts Tag Team match. Kind of a goofy name. I get it because it was around the holidays. But you had Tony Storm, Roderick Strong, and the Conglomeration teamed up against the Death Riders. They ended up coming out on top. Again, the match was a 3 out of 6. I really, really feel like they dropped the ball here, AEW, and this is few and far between. They hardly ever drop the ball. But I feel like this was the time you should have turned Roderick Strong heel. I've been saying it on my channel for weeks. I really think that he needs a heel turn because his character is kind of stale. He is hesitant to join the Conglomeration and just, party with them and be with them. We did see him raise his hand. But during the match, we saw him and Marina Shafir, who those two in real life are a couple. I don't know how many of you knew that. They kind of squared off for a second. And yeah, just seeing that, I was like, maybe it does happen tonight. I would love to see that happen tonight. It didn't happen. Maybe it still happens somewhere down the line, or maybe it doesn't ever at all. I just feel like that could have capitalized on this match that, honestly, on the entire card, I think was a match that could have just been a main event for a Collision. The rest of the card was absolute fucking bangers. You had the AEW Women's World Tag Team Championship match. The Babes of Wrath retained against Athena and Mercedes Moné. I love it. You see Mercedes is just slowly falling apart. I believe later on in the night, she had a backstage promo where you just see her walk into a room and she just fucking went ballistic and screamed. She's fucking losing her mind. And she's going to be dropping those belts one by one by one until she has no more. And man, oh man, am I here for that. But yeah, Babes of Wrath, great tag team match. I really love their synergy. They are a great tag team to be the first ever inaugural women's tag champs. Next, we had the AEW Women's Championship. Statlander and Hayter. Really, really good match. These fucking women hit each other hard. There was a lot of rough spots. And that move that Statlander hit Hayter with from the top rope, I don't even know what it was. If I remember right, it was like a Falcon Arrow or something like that. A move somewhat similar to that off the top. Really, really nasty work. Statlander ends up retaining. This was a 5 out of 6 cans of whoop ass match for me this evening. Then you had the co-main event. I believe it was a co-main event. You had the finals of the C2, and the C2 was fucking fantastic. Like, damn, I did not want that shit to end at all. I wish the C2 happened multiple times of the year and not just once a year. 2 videos ago, I claimed that I would love Tony Khan to make it longer. Maybe just add 2 more people in each bracket so it goes on like another month. I would love that. We saw Okada and Moxley, and a lot of people, like that clown from New York, want to sit and complain about the fact that Moxley cut one of his best promos in a while after the match. I thought it was great. I loved after he won the match, he beat Okada. It was honestly an upset, even though the guy who was previously AEW World Champ, keeping it hidden away in a briefcase, made a full face turn, it feels like, in that match. And the promo afterwards, the only thing that I felt like it was missing was the Death Riders turning on him then and there, because I just don't feel like that's what they're about. He's really becoming a face again, and I feel like Claudio. And notice, Pac was never in the ring, which is very interesting. I don't know if that was part of the storyline or maybe he had some visa issues yet again, like he's had countless times, unfortunately. But I feel like it's storyline driven. Pac was not there. And I feel like maybe what they could do is slowly over the next few weeks, less and less Death Riders come out to support him in matches until you're finally down to the last person that they added into the Death Riders, which is Danny Garcia, who is such a tweener. I feel like you could very easily have him also turn face with Moxley once Moxley gets kicked out. Maybe Garcia's like, well, what the hell? Like, Moxley vouched for me and added me into the Death Riders and gave me, a push in AEW. I don't like this. And maybe Garcia turns face as well. That's just an idea. But yes, Moxley and Okada, a 5 out of 6 cans of whoop-ass match. It was really, really good. One of the best C2 matches of the entire tournament. With the main event, we had a fantastic Fatal 4-Way. They don't do it much in AEW, especially not for the AEW World Championship. We saw Swerve, Samoa Joe, Hangman, and MJF have one of the best main events in AEW in 2025. One of the best pay-per-view main events ever, not just in 2025. I really liked this match. It really showcased all 4 wrestlers, their styles. You just saw how their brain clicked. Each of these 4 individuals, how their brain clicked in this match, how they went about certain moves, certain team-ups with certain wrestlers, how they tried to take advantage during certain points of the match. And you see MJF come out on top at the end, and boy, oh boy, am I here for it. MJF, like I said at the beginning of the video, is going to make AEW phenomenal in 2026. They're going to stay at the top because they beat the shit out of WWE through and through, week in, week out. Every single PLE versus pay-per-view, AEW's pay-per-views took a fat fucking shit on WWE's PLEs, and every single one destroyed WWE. And now you have easily the best heel in all of pro wrestling at the top as your AEW World Champ, and he's going to carry AEW on his back into 2026. He's going to put on a lot of great matches, and I feel like he's going to hold that title for a while until a big baby face takes it off of him. Maybe, just maybe, it'll finally be Darby Allin. And now, quickly to end the video, some pro wrestling news that affects both AEW and WWE. First and foremost, AEW reportedly has no plans for Jericho going forward, and he's not expected to return to the company. You can read on the rest there. I'm just going to let you know my thoughts. I feel like it makes sense for Jericho to go back to WWE. He'll probably sign a Legends contract. He'll get a retirement run, hopefully much better than John Cena's. and we'll see him close out his career in WWE. I mean, that was his home for like 20 years before he joined AEW, so it makes sense. He really just ran his course in AEW. That's really all it came down to. He got to the top, was champ, and really the last year or two in AEW, a lot of his stuff that he was doing was just misses. The fans just couldn't get behind it. He has significantly slowed down in the ring, which some people hearing this, what I'm about to say next, may get triggered, but WWE wrestling is better for him. It's slower, it's safer, and there's plenty more people over there that are at the top featured weekly that are more his age. So I just had to mention that real quick. Let me know down below your thoughts on the Chris Jericho news. Lastly, I want to talk about something that MJF actually poked around with. He said that he had no problem praising WWE while AEW doesn't get the respect it rightfully deserves. I'm up at pause right there. That is so fucking true. And MJF is a man of truth when it comes to this because he's a heel of all heels and he'll call out the bullshit when he sees it. He really doesn't care about PR or anything like that. No matter how many tickets we sell, no matter how many pay-per-view buys we get, no matter how many top acts we have, they're just not able to say AEW in 2025 is doing a great job entertaining fans. It's almost as if they're chasing a hug from a certain company. It's odd. I can't comprehend it because when WWE does good stuff, I'm the first person to say congratulations and kudos. But for some reason, for some strange fucking reason, it's almost as if there's certain journalists that are in a certain company's pocket. It's just odd. That was MJF via Mostly Sports, and he couldn't be more honest and truthful with that and factual. You got the clown from New York, all kinds of other people that are now in WWE's pocket. They won't ever admit it, but you can clearly tell that they are, and will just bash AEW left and right for no reason and never like any of the stuff that they do, even though us pro wrestling fans, emphasis on those two words, pro wrestling, we know that AEW is where the best wrestle. I mean, look at this right up here. Some of the top AEW wrestlers are all under the age of 30. This whole list is under the age of 30. Whereas the top over in WWE are 10, 15 years older than that. And that's a fact. That's all I had on this episode of Screw the Script. Let me know down below your thoughts on the entire World's End card, your thoughts on MJF's comments, your thoughts on Chris Jericho, and anything else you may want to ask me or talk about down in the comments. As always, this has been Maverick with Screw the Script. Thanks for watching.